I'm calling it right here, right now. We are winning a trophy this season. I can just feel it. There's just something in the air with this team and this particular system. And I know we lost 7-2 in the last episode, but really that's been our only blip in the entire season so far. And we've been drawn against Brentford in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. Very much a winnable game. And I'm telling you right now, that trophy has our name on it. That quarterfinal clash against Brentford will be our featured game of today's episode. We're going to be quick simming games against Brighton, against Crystal Palace, against Wolves, and against Leeds. Very, very busy episode here today. 7 games to get to. I'll show you highlights of a match that we'll play against Arsenal to close the episode, and we're going to open things here with highlights of our trip to Anfield to take on Liverpool as well. We're going to have to make sure we plan this month out incredibly carefully because there's so many games to get to. We're going to have to make sure that we have got everybody's training plans exactly where we want them. We're going to have to make sure that we're rotating players through the starting 11 through each of these games as well. So we have gone with the strongest 11 for our opening game of the episode against Liverpool, but I have prioritized sharpness over fitness in the training plans. So I want to give our best as we take on Liverpool, but that means we're going to have to rotate the 11 significantly against Brighton in a few days' time. There aren't a huge amount of highlights to show from the first half in this one because despite having a lot of possession, we did manage to keep Liverpool fairly quiet going forward. The first highlight, however, is Alexis Mac Allister opening the scoring. I'm not sure how he found the space in the penalty area to turn and get his shot away. I'm not sure how we allowed Diogo Jota so much space on this particular occasion. He too turned and got his shot away, but Bernd Leno was equal to this one. But about 20 minutes from time, Alexis Mac Allister would have his second goal of the game. We started pushing for an equaliser, opened up holes in behind as it so often does. And the icing on the cake for Liverpool and for Mac Allister himself was this beauty of a free kick. I thought I timed the jump with the wall fairly well, maybe a little late. Either way, it was in off the underside of the bar. There was no stopping it. So a not so subtle reminder that although we are having a very good season in the Premier League, and although I do still tip us to win a trophy, namely the Carabao Cup, there are still levels to this game, and Liverpool are on a higher level than we are. Liverpool, of course, a potential opponent in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup, however, so if we do manage to make it past Brentford, we'll go into that potential game with a little more experience and knowledge of how they want to set up and play. But for now, we have a series of Premier League games to quick sim, starting here with Brighton at Craven Cottage. And as we said, we've had to make a number of changes to our starting 11 for this one. It doesn't prevent us from coming away with the victory, though, albeit a very narrow one. Ruben Vargas opened the scoring in the first half before Rodrigo Muniz doubled our lead just before the hour mark. 2 goals in relatively quick succession from Welbeck and Ayari got Brighton right back into it. But Yusuf Poulsen, starting ahead of Josh Sargent today, grabbed a winner 10 minutes from time. We have rotated the 11 once more as we travel to Selhurst Park to take on Crystal Palace. Alex Iwobi and Sasha Lukic come into midfield to form a brand new trio never played before alongside Xaver Schlager. Kevin Mbabu comes back in at right back for this one, having spent about 3 months sidelined with a broken toe. And the lack of cohesion and chemistry in the squad is evident as Munoz scores a single goal to give Crystal Palace all 3 points at home. More changes for our 4th game of the episode against Wolves, again at Craven Cottage. There are a number of players that I'm definitely looking to start against Brentford, so they have been rested. Kevin Mbabu starts for a second straight game. Harrison Reed comes into the midfield, and Yusuf Poulsen partners Josh Sargent up front. And it's points shared this time. I feel like I can count the number of draws we've had this season on one hand, as Andreas Pereira opens the score in just a minute into the game. Ryan Aït-Nouri grabs one back for Wolves shortly after. Mosquera puts Wolves ahead in the second half. And then Yusuf Poulsen scores for a second straight game to rescue a point, which brings us to our 5th and featured game of the episode against Brentford. We absolutely demolished Brentford 4-0 earlier in the series, so it's a game that I fancy us to win. And that would, of course, allow us to progress to the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup, put us in the Final Four, put us within touching distance of a trophy. We said last time out that Angel Correa didn't really cause us any issues, but he does start up front for Brentford again today, flanked once more by Brian Mbeumo and Jack Grealish. I don't think the remainder of the starting 11 is exactly the same, but Paredes certainly started against us last time out. Decore and Sanchez partner him in midfield today. Angelino, Pinnock, Medina, Teze make up the back four, and then Bulker was the goalkeeper that started last time out. As for Johannes Thorup's 11, it's the strongest one that he has available to him. A couple of players, Diop, Adrabayo, slightly less than fully match fit, but we are so short on centre-backs, we couldn't really rotate anybody else in to rest them in the previous game against Wolves. It's going to be Vargas, Schlager and Yusuf, our strongest midfield three, and I still think Sargent and Muniz are our strongest pairing up front. Werner, of course, is on the bench. So without further ado, let's head over to Craven Cottage and see if we can put in another convincing performance, grab another convincing result against Brentford in another West London derby. So we are up in the commentary box at Craven Cottage for a not semi-final clash. I'm getting ahead of myself, for a quarter-final clash against Brentford. It's been a while since we've been in the final 8 of a tournament. I think it must have been the Europa League with Everton when we won the competition in our final season at Goodison Park. Feels like an eternity ago now, but it can't have been that long ago. And we will see how it plays out here for the second time against Brentford at Craven Cottage. Rare you play the same team at home twice in a season, but it does happen occasionally, and it's happening here. An early cross into the box from Emerson Royale, looking for Rodrigo Muniz. Two big targets in the box today, of course, in Muniz and Sargent. Yusuf Poulsen is on the bench, as well as Timo Werner. So we're going to have our option late in the game. Is that not a foul? How is that not a foul? He's come right through the back of him to get to the ball. Jack Grealish. Good challenge, Adrabayo. We're going to have our choices late in the game if we want another target man in Yusuf Poulsen, or if we want a bit more pace and energy in Timo Werner. Good challenge, but Xaver Schlager can't play out from the back. There's Angel Correa linking with Brian Mbermo and finding Jack Grealish, who works it inside. The initial shot is blocked. The shot off the rebound is saved very, very well by Bernd Leno. And Jack Grealish was shaped to take the Brentford corner. A much quicker start in this game than they had in their previous trip across to Craven Cottage. I said this is a West London derby. Is it a West London derby? Do Brentford count as West London? Or are they not just like Greater London? Let me know in the comments if you are certain one way or another, because I'm certainly not. Emerson Royale, Vargas into that channel like we enjoy so much. Vargas into the box. Yusuf at the back stick, can't win the header though. Those little runs from the centre midfielders either side of Schlager into those channels are so effective. Gives us so many attacking options. That's an awful pass from Emerson Royale though. Could set Brentford away on a counter-attack. Fortunately we do enough to slow that, and Decore just finds Paredes. Brentford, I imagine, well, they have set up in the same way. We pretty much know they're going to be playing in the same way as well, despite a 4-0 defeat last time out. Good positioning from Calvin Bassey to see an end to that, and Emerson Royale is dithering on the ball. I pressed pass an eternity ago, and he just took like 6 extra touches. One thing I'm looking forward to in FC 25 is the dynamic approach that teams will have to their play style. If we choose to select that anyway, there are going to be different options that we can select from in terms of the CPU's approach to the game, one of which is tactical, where it will be pretty much as it is now, I would imagine. Teams have their play styles, they have their tactical visions. and they set up in that way each game, or there is dynamic, which means that the CPU will change how they approach games on a game-to-game basis. Now, we'll have to see exactly how that's implemented. Rico Henry, against his old club, delivers. Headed clear before Josh Sargent can make a nuisance of himself. Look how deep Brentford are, though. We are first to the second ball every time at the moment. What a ball in that is. Because look how deep they're sitting. And our three centre-backs can just hoover up anything that's cleared away from the Brentford box. Another nice little run into the channel from Yusuf. But we will have to see exactly how that dynamic tactical vision approach is implemented, because as Emerson Royale bursts past his man and into the box, pulls it back, and there's nobody there. We wanted Schlager a little further up the field, inside the penalty area, rather than a couple of yards outside. All we wanted Josh Sargent just to peel away from his run across the near post. What a save that is, Bernd Leno. I was convinced Angel Correa had put Brentford ahead. We talked him down in the previous matchup. Said he didn't make too much of an impact. He's made an impact here, but Bernd Leno with an unbelievable reaction stop to keep us level. He can't keep that out though, and we're 1-0 down. We are 1-0 down in the quarterfinals against the team that we dominated last time out. And is that Ethan Pinnock? It is Ethan Pinnock riding over to... I was going to say caress his manager. That is certainly not what I meant. Embrace his manager is the word that I was looking for. I would certainly be worried if Ethan Pinnock, in the throes of celebration, ran over to the sideline and caressed Thomas Frank. But he did embrace him. A little bit more PG. I mean, it is the evening game. It is probably past the watershed at this point. Maybe not quite, actually, to be fair. So save that kind of thing for the second half, potentially. But we need to get back level. Because I talked down Angel Correa in the previous game. I talked down Brentford before this game. And it's Angel Correa and Brentford who have started by far the brighter. I will at some point get out what I'm trying to say about the dynamic tactical visions, but every time I try, something interesting happens on the pitch. Jack Grealish finds a Brentford teammate. Bernd Leno off his line. That cannot be a free kick. It simply cannot be a free kick. Okay, it can. Take it back. That can absolutely be a free kick, and rightfully it is a free kick. No idea what for, but of course if it goes in our favour, then it is of course rightfully a free kick no matter what occurred. But dynamic tactical visions, I'm not sure if it's going to be just randomly generated at the beginning of each game. I certainly hope it's not, and I don't think it is implemented that way. But I'm not entirely sure how the CPU would determine what adjustments to make to their tactical vision and their approach to the game based on a previous result. The way it's kind of been pitched, and the way that you would hope it is that if you beat a team 4-0 like we did with Brentford, the next time out, the CPU team changes things to address what went wrong in the first game. How the CPU determines exactly what went wrong and what led to the 4-0 defeat, I'm not sure. So we'll have to see exactly how that's implemented, but I think a lot of potential there for sure. And, I mean, it is tough to say from time to time whether we do have some semblance of dynamic tactical visions, or at least like play styles and approach to the game anyway, because this game does feel completely different from the previous. So whether Brentford have slightly changed the way that they are playing, what a save, Bernd Leno. Kind of under the hood, then I mean it's tough to make that assessment. Headed clear by Calvin Bassey. Rodrigo Muniz can't quite steal it back. I think we have to make sure we don't go 2-0 down. I think whilst we are... That's such a poor pass. We've been so sloppy in possession. Ruben Vargas this time has been so good this year, but just gifting possession back to Brentford. Angel Correa once more. Off the bar. Off the bar. Again, I was convinced Brentford had put it in the back of the net. And we're just inviting them to do so at the moment. Again, gifting them possession in a dangerous area. Calvin Bassey with an intervention this time, though. And at the moment, we are just trying to get to half-time. Just a single goal down. Because Brentford are all over us. Rico Henry, make that run. He kind of has just about, but let's get going. Teze, more than capable of keeping up with Rico Henry. Has to turn back on himself, and he has no support. Brentford sitting so deep. They didn't sit this deep last time out, right? I feel like I would have remembered. I feel like they were easier to break down last time out because they had players in forward positions. All we've really got is crosses from fullbacks. And it was almost enough. At times this season, that's been all we've needed. And that was almost the case again there. Emerson Royale picking out Rodrigo Muniz at the back post. Vargas almost picking out Rodrigo Muniz from the corner. And Brentford haven't cleared yet. Now they almost have. Took a deflection from the goalkeeper's clearance, though. And Correa does manage to come away with the ball into the feet of Sanchez. And Schlager's beaten, and that's a beautifully weighted ball through to Teze, who is high up the field. It's a challenge from Rico Henry, but it does go out for a Brentford corner kick. Here is Ethan Pinnock's goal once more. Not sure why that was so difficult to say. And it is going to be another Jack Grealish corner as Brentford look to double their lead just before half-time. And that's such a brave header, I think, from Issa Diop. Ended up in a heap on the floor. I hope he's not injured as a result. But if he is, it will be a sacrifice worth making because he does... Come on. He does keep things... Just a single goal deficit for now. Angel Correa almost doubling that advantage for Brentford, though. Jack Grealish looking to do the same again from a fifth Brentford corner. This time Rico Henry at the near post manages to head clear. Space in the box for two Brentford players. There's no offside flag. And it's a 2-goal lead after all for Brentford. As Sanchez doubles the scoring. And where has this performance come from? Both from our perspective and from Brentford's, I thought Bernd Leno had done enough. I thought it was going to be Sanchez to pick up the ball initially, so that's where my focus was. And it was, I think, Ethan Pinnock who picked up the ball and played it through to Sanchez. We are really going to have to change things at half-time. Without doubt, we are stepping up into our attacking game plan. Because, of course, we have nothing to lose in the game. We are already 2-0 down. And if we don't change things... If we don't change things significantly, of course, we are going to be out of the competition. I think the thing that we need to change the most is just execution on simple actions, though. Simple passes have just not been where they need to be. That's got to be a card. And it's a yellow, which is probably right, to be fair. I wouldn't have minded a red by any means, but I think as soon as we take the free kick, pretty much, it's going to be half-time. Schlager potentially with a chance to get a shot away, but blocked easily. I was hoping at least that would bounce out for a corner. 2-0 down at half-time. Not the scoreline I was predicting by any means. And I think Johannes Thorup, if our journey in this competition is going to continue, is going to have a serious think about how to approach this second period. Thank you for checking out this episode of our realistic Norwich City career mode. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're approaching the end of the FC24 cycle now, but there'll be plenty more content to come with the release of FC25, including 12th man memberships. If you want to get more involved with the channel, check out the membership tiers on my homepage. Memberships start at less than £2 per month and come with a whole host of benefits and rewards, including you being able to feature in my career mode saves. We'll be starting a road to glory with a created club as soon as FC25 drops. So if you want to be included in the save or even feature in our starting 11, become a 12th man member of the channel today. 12th man members also get exclusive early access to all of my videos, not only my career mode series, but also my realistic slider sets and everything else in between. If you want more information about exactly what each tier involves, be sure to check out this video on my homepage. If memberships aren't for you, you can also join the public area of my Discord server, or just keep watching and enjoying the content for free right here on YouTube. As always, I appreciate all of your encouragement and support. Now, let's get back to the video. So, 2 changes for Johannes Thorup and Fulham as we come out for the second half. Rodrigo Muniz makes way. Slightly harsh potentially, but Timo Werner is on to replace him. A little bit more pace up front. A little bit more of an opportunity to hit Brentford on the counter-attack. A little bit more energy and dynamism as well. Didn't have too much success finding the likes of Josh Sargent and Rodrigo Muniz. Thank God that went wide. From crosses. So Timo Werner bringing us something a little bit different up front in this second half. Some more balls dropped in behind the Brentford back line, stretching them a little bit further. Rico Henry delivers. Andreas Pereira, the other change that we have made. Yusuf making way for him. So 2 attacking midfielders on now in Pereira and Vargas, as Rico Henry steals it away and lofts the ball up towards Josh Sargent in the penalty area, and will take the free kick. Thank you, referee. We have also stepped up into our attacking game plan. Please let me change to Slager. Thank you. Ultra attacking will be due soon if we do remain level. I wish we were level. If the scoreline does remain 2-0, in 10, maybe 15 minutes time, we will step up into our ultra attacking game plan. But I mean, look at the gaps we're leaving in behind already. It's something that we have to do because we are obviously chasing the game. But I don't want to commit to ultra attacking immediately, because just gifting Brentford an early goal in this second half would just absolutely kill the game. Whereas we do have a bit of time to sit in our attacking game plan before we need to get too desperate. Another Brentford corner, headed clear by Ruben Vargas this time. Pereira on the edge of the box lays it off to Pinnock, who's been as much of an attacking threat for Brentford as anyone in either of the 2 games. Schlager cuts it out, finds Bassi just about, and Brentford are pressing now, so we will try and hit them on a quick counter-attack. They've done well to delay it though. Ruben Vargas, Emerson Royale, can't quite bring it down. Really good defending from Brentford just to delay that counter-attack. Desperately searching for Timo Werner down that left-hand side. That's going to be a free kick. Really frustrating game so far. Delivered, headed clear by Jock. Can we get there first with Vargas? Yes, we can. And into the path of Pereira. Now let's hit Brentford on the counter. Timo Werner through the middle. Too many Brentford defenders to try and find Werner, though. We're just going to strike from range, and it's a good strike. And hooked clear by the goalkeeper. We couldn't get near it with Werner for the rebound. But that's a little better. Ruben Vargas once more. Pereira can't quite find him. What a good run from Pereira. Vargas couldn't quite slip it through. And I think we've already reached the point in the game where we just have to commit to ultra attacking. Because We're not in this game. There's half an hour left to play, and we're not in this game. Brentford's still in control of the ball as well as the scoreline. Brian and Burmo. It's got to be a good challenge, Henry. It was. And Burmo got the lucky bounce. But it did eventually roll through to Bernd Leno. Vargas can burst forward. Timo Werner through the middle. Pace to get an opportunity to shoot, and it's straight at the goalkeeper. That was the opportunity we needed. That has to be in the back of the net. It simply has to be. That simply has to be in the back of the net. Really poor finish from Werner. Pereira. Oh, just behind Werner. Just behind Sargent as well. It was in that area, that no man's land between the two players. Either side of where the ball ended up. And we would have found either Werner or Sargent. We'll just take the corner. We'll just take the corner. We'll make a change or two. As will Brentford. And we'll step up into our attacking game plan. So 2 more changes for Johannes Thorup and Fulham as Emerson Royale and Rico Henry leave the field. It's a like-for-like change on the left as Owen Weindal comes on, a fresh pair of legs. But it's Yusuf Poulsen coming up front, and we are stepping up into our ultra-attacking game plan as Andres Pereira delivers the corner. Headed half clear by Brentford. There is Owen Weindal. One of our 2 substitutes. Xaver Schlager can't quite work the space to get a shot away. Does find Poulsen, who forces a spectacular save from the Brentford keeper. That's 2 fantastic opportunities. One for Timo Werner. One for Yusuf Poulsen. And it's starting to feel like it's just not going to be our day. Taken down on his chest in the box. I think that was Adrabayo. Couldn't get the shot away though before Brentford got a foot in. Really well cut out by Owen Weindal. Finds Pereira, who can strike from range, and it's blocked by a Brentford man. I thought I timed that well as well. Timed shooting. And it felt like that was decently timed. Would have been interested to find out where that went if it made it past the Brentford man. Poulsen, just past the post. Had the goalkeeper scrambling. I'm not sure if he would have got there. It's a moot point in the end as the ball flashes past the post. And we just cannot find the back of the net. Putting Brentford under some serious pressure now, but we have to make that pressure tell. If we are going to continue to the next round of the Carabao Cup, it's not looking likely at this stage. We will, of course, throw everything at it. We've got 3 strikers on right now. Timo Werner and Josh Sargent either side of Yusuf Poulsen. It's going to be Timo Werner that will drive forward on this particular occasion. Not a particularly good spot to cross from, but he does almost find Poulsen in the box after switching onto his right foot. Brentford managed to work it clear, though, through Jack Grealish eventually. Schlager pressing in midfield and winning the ball back in midfield. Timo Werner ahead of him. It's a loose touch from Schlager, but it does fall to a Fulham man. And how has he got there ahead of Yusuf Poulsen? I had Yusuf Poulsen's enormous body between the Brentford defender and the ball. Why the extra touch? Why the extra touch? I'd powered up a pass there and Sargent just takes an extra touch for no reason. You can tell how frustrated I am by how high-pitched my voice gets. And I was very frustrated there. Just the pass is right there. There's absolutely no reason not to play it. And Sargent, I mean, it wasn't really an extra touch. It was more like a little delay, a little hesitation. And by then, I'm expecting the pass to have been played, and I'm moving the left stick in a different direction so that I can bring the recipient of the pass towards the ball. That, of course, puts the pass in completely the wrong area. Poulsen, another shot, another block from Brentford. A goal kick! A goal kick! How can that possibly be a goal kick? How can that possibly be a goal kick? It's rigged. It is rigged. 12 minutes to go. Schlager steals the ball away. It's 3-on-2 in Brentford's favour. Yusuf Poulsen. Oh, come on. Really good challenge from Jop. Somebody make a decent run. Just run directly into the Brentford bodies. Oh, I hate the attacking runs in this game. What a challenge. It's looking like we're not going to win the trophy after all. I mean, there's still the FA Cup. I really should stop talking, though. Every time I talk either us up or somebody else down, it comes back to bite me. Werner. He finds space to get the cross in. No. And Weindal just runs towards the penalty area that is chock-a-block with Fulham bodies as well as Brentford. Just hold your position. I can just lay the ball back to you and you can cross it. Why are you sprinting towards the centre of the pitch? When you're playing left midfield, by the way. Good challenge, Calvin Bassey. Just hooked clear. No more options on the bench. Really good challenge. No. Didn't really see that Brentford player there and he kind of ambushed me. Please run into the open space, Josh Sargent. Why are you just running directly at two Brentford defenders when there's an acre of space there? The left back is nowhere to be seen. Absolutely nonsensical. Run into that space. Just no awareness of where the space is. It's like they're obviously programmed rather to be in a particular position, and they'll just put their head down and sprint towards that position regardless of whether there's already players there or not. Just so little awareness of what space is. Sargent just about holds on to it for long enough to lose it and give away a foul. How that touch was so heavy, I don't know. There wasn't... Sargent didn't put the momentum into the ball for it to ping that far off his foot. Weindal wins the header. Timo Werner. 9 Brentford players to beat. And that's got to be it. That's the definition of a yellow card. That's the definition of a yellow card. Where are you going? Schlager. Awful cross. Game is over. Trophy hopes are gone. Because we're not winning the Premier League, obviously. And it all now rests on the FA Cup. We haven't played in the FA Cup yet. So, I mean, there's a chance. I don't think we get an easier run in the FA Cup than we have been given in the Carabao Cup, though. Who have we played? We played Derby. We played somebody else not particularly good after that. I feel like maybe Crystal Palace. We have Brentford here today, who, despite leading 2-0, aren't the toughest of opposition. We've proved that earlier this season with a 4-0 victory. I mean, we're going to have a corner late on, but even if we grab a goal, we're 5 minutes deep into 4 minutes of added time, so there's absolutely nothing we can do. Poulsen, what a save. And we don't even get another corner. Not that it matters. And we crash out of the Carabao Cup in extremely disappointing fashion. We made the final 8, which is something of an achievement in itself, but it really felt like we had a trophy in us this season. We started the season in absolutely dominant fashion. We've put in a number of performances this season that are trophy-winning worthy, trophy-winning caliber. This certainly was not one of them. So Spurs are the second team to progress to the next round of the Carabao Cup. Liverpool versus Villa, Manchester City versus Leeds are the other two fixtures. And it's going to be really hard to get the team motivated for our final two games of the episode after that really disappointing defeat. We're travelling to Elland Road to take on Leeds for this one, and we're going to round out the episode with a game against Arsenal, which I'm really not looking forward to. And we can't even go to Arsenal off the back of a win to get us back on track. Mark Rocker opens the scoring for Leeds. Yusuf Poulsen, in a rich vein of goal-scoring form, grabs one back 3 minutes later. Rodrigo Muniz puts us ahead, but Solari, again, another goal in quick succession. He grabs an equaliser for Leeds, and that's how it finished. So things falling apart a little bit for us as we approach January. We are slipping place after place in the Premier League, game after game, and we no longer even have our Carabao Cup run to point to. And it's an unreal Arsenal 11 that awaits us in the final game of today's episode. Mamardashvili starts in goal. Di Lorenzo, Ibanez, Jimenez, Davis make up a completely new look back four for Arsenal. Kimmich, Jorginho, Odegaard is a ridiculous midfield, and there's Martinelli and Saka supporting Darwin Nunez up front. This game was as frustrating as I thought it would be. Darwin Nunez testing Bernd Leno early. He was equal to that first test, though. He was equal to the second test as well, again from Darwin Nunez as he burst through our back line. But he would fail at the third time of asking. To be fair, this time it was from a penalty, a very, very soft decision, gifting Arsenal the lead. A really well-composed penalty from Bukayo Saka. 4 minutes later, though, we were back in the game. Yusuf Poulsen taking a leaf out of Darwin Nunez's book and bursting through the Arsenal back line. Xaver Schlager found him, and Poulsen has been surely the star of the episode. He grabs another goal to level things. And we were seconds away from frustrating Arsenal until the very end of the first half, when Martin Odegaard found a little bit of space in the penalty area, and with the very last action of the first half, gave Arsenal the lead once more. The second half was all Arsenal. There was some sloppy play at the back as we tried to, keep possession and play out from the back, try and spring some kind of counter-offensive, but Arsenal were very, very good in the press. And as we struggled to get back into the game, Arsenal continued to create opportunities to give themselves an even more sizable lead each and every time, though. Bernd Leno, a former Arsenal man, of course, was equal to it. That was until Joshua Kimmich unleashed this absolutely unbelievable strike from somewhere between 20 and 25 yards to completely kill the game off. Unbelievable strike, on par with Alexis McAllister's free kick. And that is how the game would finish. A game in keeping with the others in today's episode, I would say. Several frustrating encounters, several less than ideal results. And the early shine that left the first half of our season gleaming is certainly beginning to wear off, and quick. And we find ourselves having slipped all the way to 9th position in the Premier League. 8 losses to our name now, and a massive 39 goals against. We've conceded far too many goals this season, level only with Southampton, who find themselves in a relegation place. Fortunately, we've scored 37, which isn't top in terms of goals for in the Premier League, but it's fairly close to being up there, and that's what's keeping us afloat at the moment. We could have done with some of those goals today, though, as we failed to score in 3 of our 7 games. We managed just 1 against Arsenal. 2 against Wolves and Leeds weren't enough to get results either, though. Didn't manage a win anyway. We managed to draw against each of those 2 sides, and if you combine that with a win against Brighton, it's not such a terrible episode. Not quite as bad as it feels. A loss against Crystal Palace is obviously disappointing, but you should never feel too ashamed losing to Arsenal or Liverpool. So we took 5 points from the 4 games that we should have been competitive in. It's obviously that loss in the Carabao Cup that is the big blow in today's episode, though. And we have just 3 games to get to in the next one of which is our first FA Cup game of the season, and it is against Newcastle United. So we said earlier against Brentford, unlikely to get an easier draw than we had in the Carabao Cup. And we're starting out with one of the toughest draws that we could have had in this very first round. The next episode will, of course, see the opening of the transfer window as well. So we'll see if we can do a little bit of wheeling and dealing. We don't have very much money in the bank at the moment, but the likes of Alex and Iwobi, maybe even Owen Vindal, could be on the way out. So we'll see what we can do in the next episode in terms of strengthening, improving the squad. We'll maybe try and get a second cup run kick started, and we will at least try and get back on track in the Premier League. I hope to see you there. Take it easy.